Oh, maybe that should be on the bottom. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Indigo. If you are new here, nice to meet you. If you are joining us again, welcome back, sister girl. So today, in today's video, I wanted to talk about my birthing story. I think I've told this story quite a few times to like friends or people who are expecting children, and I think for my own personal documentation, it's important to me that I document it. It's like one day I want Mia to be able to go back and be like, my mom recorded how I got here, and I want to hear about it. So my birthing story was a very interesting one for me because it was, of course, my first one. And yeah, so when my mom gave birth to my brother and I, she had us via cesarean section, and the way she described the pain that she was in, I don't remember her being in pain for my brother, maybe because I was just like in love with him. But for me, she made it seem like it was the worst experience, hence the reason she waited 15 years to do it again. But she was just like, it felt like my boobs were connected to my belly button. Like, it was the worst experience ever. So when you hear that, you don't want to, that's not the type of procedure I want to endure. That's not how I'm trying to have my baby. So I was very gung-ho and very adamant that that was not what I wanted. So I had planned, like from the moment that I found out that I was pregnant, which I was 7 weeks, and I found that I was pregnant, I was just like, God, if you hear me, please help me have a very smooth pregnancy. Let her or him come naturally, and that be it. And I had a pretty smooth pregnancy. I found out again when I was 7 weeks. I told my mom on my 31st birthday. We went to dinner. Told my mom and my younger brother. Told my dad after that. Told everybody else after I told my mom. And yeah, it was pretty smooth. The job that I worked in was a school. We had a 4-floor walk up double landing. There was no elevator option, so I was always taking the stairs. I had always been a relatively fit person. I cheered all of my life. I did martial arts for 18 years of my life. Not 18 years, but like for a long time, until I was 18. And I worked out. I like to go to the gym. I like to do yoga. I had just gotten into Pilates. I was a Pilates girl. Okay, Pilates me down. I had found a Pilates club that I liked. Shout out to Club Pilates. I'm about to try another one out here this weekend. But I was just in really good shape. I was very stressed on my job because we were moving from a remote setting into a in-person setting. My staff was very much so against it. It was a very, very hard time. My head was never, ever in a good place. I was always super stressed. So, with my period being late, I did not think anything of it because I was just so stressed. I was just like, this is what's supposed to happen when you're stressed. Like, this has happened to me before. I've been stressed, missed my period, whatever. Like, I was a pretty regular person, but I know that stress and anxiety take me out. I would come home from work, have a little cocktail. I think at the time we were still living in separate places, I think. I don't even remember. We may have been living together. But he was just like, what is wrong with you? I was annoyed with him. Like, everything he did just pissed me off. He's just like, what is wrong with you? I was like, nothing. He was like, well, did you catch your period? I was like, no, it's late, but like, I'm stressed. This job got me stressed. And he was like, all right, if you say so. He's like, you need to go to the doctor. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make an appointment. But like, just like that, with an attitude. All right, I'm gonna make an appointment. Don't worry about me, I got it. And I was always very hyper independent. So people telling me like, you need to do the basic core things, especially when it comes to health and wellness, I'm just like, bro, I know my body. Like, I take care of me. I've been taking care of me for 31 years, almost 31 years at that time. What are you doing? So I make an appointment, I go get the blood work done, and he decides he wants to come with me. So we're sitting, he met me there. So I found some random clinic to go and get blood work done because I think like I was in between doctors. My doctor was in Brooklyn, but I wanted a black doctor. My black doctor who was in Brooklyn, she hadn't had an appointment. No, she had got sick. She had COVID and she was out during that time or something. And yeah, I was just struggling. So I went to some random place. I got the blood work done, and they were like, all right, we're going to call you in a couple of days. And I was like, all right. Like, y'all going to call me, and it's going to be like, you fine. So he kept asking me, like, did you get the results? Did you get the results? I'm like, why? I'm fine. I'm stressed. Like, this job got me in a chokehold. I'm fine. And he was like, all right, well, let me know when you get the results. And then later that day, I get a call. And they're like, hi, is this Indigo? I'm like, yes, it is. It is me. And they're like, okay, well, we just wanted to let you know we got the results in, and congratulations. I think you're pregnant. And I was like, yeah, congratulations. Thank you. Okay, bye. And they were like, okay, wait, but your next steps is like to call your gynecologist. I'm like, yep, that's fine. Thank you. Bye. I was at school, like at work, got the results. She was like walking down the hallway, so I snatched her up and pushed her into the girls' bathroom. I closed the door. Meanwhile, this is like the kids' girls' bathroom. So the kids, no, there were no children, but normally that door is never closed. So I closed the door, and she just looked at me, and I was like, I got my results. What do you think they say? And she was like, that you're not pregnant. I said, no, I am. She goes, what? And I was like, just keep it together. I don't know how I feel. And I just had to tell somebody. So then I told her, and then we walked out the bathroom. She's like, let me know if you need anything. I'm like, yep. So I text him, and I'm like, what do you want? No, I think in that moment he had texted me, or like a few minutes before that, and I hadn't answered him. And I'm like, what do you want the results to be? And he was like, either way, we're going to be fine. We're going to make it work. And I was like, I mean, I know, but what do you want the results to be that you keep asking me? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, we're pregnant. He's like, okay, how do you feel? I was like, I don't know. We'll talk about it when I get home. And that was it. So then I got home, and I think he was home late or something, and I just was like laid up in the bed. But that's the thing. My exhaustion level was through the roof. I was so tired all the time. Like, he has pictures of me before, like, I even started showing. He has pictures of me just laid out on the couch, fully clothed with my whole workday clothes on. And that's one thing I don't do. I don't keep outside clothes on. I wasn't in the bed, but I was on the couch. And like, I don't just lay up in outside clothes because that's disgusting. So I came home. I had like showered. And I talked to my mom about everything, but I did not tell her. He was like, can you just wait to tell anybody? Like, and I was like, of course, like, we got to make it special for the people that we care about. Like, I'm not going to just tell anything. And I need to process my own feelings. I don't know how I feel. So when he came home, he sat in a foldable chair on the side of the bed, far away from me. He's just like, so how do you feel? I was like, I don't know. I do not know. And stop asking me that. I don't know. And he was like, well, we're going to be fine. I was like, I mean, I know, but like, I just don't know. And he was like, so how do you feel now? I was like, tired, which is why I'm laying in this bed. And he was like, do you have any cravings? And I was like, no, I don't know. I'm just tired. I just want to go to sleep. So he's just like asking me a bunch of questions. And to be honest, I can't even remember all the questions that he was asking me, but I know I was just frustrated because I'm just like, I need to process. They called me over the phone to lay down some information that I was not expecting. And then everybody keep asking me, how do I feel? I don't know how I feel. So fast forward, we had a very healthy pregnancy for the most part. I think the most interesting part of the pregnancy was me learning that my baby was literally taking all of my calcium, like literally all of it. And with her taking all of the calcium, she was also sucking the iron out of me. So I had to, towards the end of my pregnancy, schedule frequent iron I don't know what you call it, intravenously. Like, they had to put it through my veins to give me the iron back. And I would do that a couple times a week. And then again, walking up and down the stairs. So my job was so sweet, did like this beautiful baby shower. What's funny is 3 of us were having babies all at the same time. How I announced to my staff was so funny. We decided we were going to be talking about our whys. Like every time we had a staff meeting, we would do our why. Like a staff member would talk about their why they choose to do this work, why they choose to come back and do this work each and every day. And it was my turn, and I was doing it with a teacher. So the teacher was going to go first, and then I was going to go. And at first, I was supposed to go before the teacher, and I was like, nah, she got to go before me. She got to go before me, because how do you follow up with like after an announcement like that? So she went, and then I like gave my why, and I was like, and now my why has grown. And then I posted a picture of the sonogram, and my staff went crazy. And then they were like, oh, thank the other teacher who went before me. Was like, thank you so much for making me go before you, because I don't know how I would have followed that. And I started laughing. But all that to say is I had a pretty healthy pregnancy. We had the beautiful baby shower right before spring break, because all of us were due later after spring break. And they took bets on us on who was going to give birth at what point based off of their due date. And one of my teachers was like, Indigo, you're not about to enjoy spring break, so I don't know why you think you are. And I was like, do not put that on me. We've had a healthy pregnancy, and my baby is going to come on time on her due date at the end of April. And he was like, you're not. I was like, all right, well, we'll see. So I had plans, okay? I had plans for spring break. I was going to go get my nails done, my toes done, my hair done, because I wanted to be ready for when it was time for her to come, and she was going to see her beautiful mama. I was going to do my eyelashes, my brows, all of the things. You know, as a mom, sometimes you just be wanting to feel put together, especially when you're meeting a special human for the first time. You just want to look put together. Went through Saturday. That was the first day of spring break. Had Sunday, second day of spring break. All my appointments were scheduled. Unclear who that is. All my appointments were scheduled for the week. So Monday morning, I get up, it's 9 o'clock, big old belly, take a shower, go to put on my clothes. Leggings, made it on. Shirt, made it on. Bra, underwear, made it on. Went to go put those socks on. I stood up and I was like, why am I still leaking? Why is it still coming out? Like this is weird. So it just felt like I was peeing on myself, but I could not control it. Like, you know how you Kegel, you clench? It was not stopping. And I was just like, It was very early, so my doctor wasn't open yet. Called my mom, and I was like, Mom, you know, you had C-sections with us, so that means you didn't have your water break, right? And she was like, no. And I was like, all right, well, I think mine just broke. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I just feel like I keep peeing, and I can't stop. I can't control it. And she was like, okay, well, I think you should call your doctor. I was like, I didn't. I left them a message. I was like, but do you think I should call Taj to come, like, get me? And she was like, yeah, I think you should call him. So I texted him, because he can't have his phone on him on his job. So I texted him, but he knew his job knows that, like, I was any day now. So I texted him. I was like, hey, please do not panic, but I think you should come home. So he calls me. He's like, what do you mean I should come home? I was like, yeah, I think my water's breaking. And he's like, freaking out. So he comes home, but before he came home, like, the dogs had to get walked. We have 2 dogs. We have a cockapoo and we have a Frenchie. They had to go out because we also didn't know how long it was going to be before somebody came back for them. We did not have a plan for these dogs. So if you need a lesson, plan for all of your pets too in your house if you have them. We did not have a plan for the dogs. We live pretty far from my family. We live pretty far from my family. We live pretty far from his family. But his niece was on call, who was also pregnant at the time. And she was slated to come out if we needed her to. But we had just moved into that house maybe 2 months before that. So we didn't even have, like, spare keys or anything. We were not prepared. Or as prepared as we wanted to be. But we did have the baby bag, and we did have my to-go bag, which I'm gonna have a whole nother video on things you should pack when you're going to the hospital, because one thing about me is I overpack, baby. Overpacked. Like, my bag was huge, and of course I couldn't carry it. And he's just like, why you look like you moving into the hospital? I was like, well, they said that this is what you're supposed to be packing to come into these situations, so I'm doing what the people said. But some of these people lied to you, so I'm gonna redo a video of things that I had in my bag versus what was not necessary. Anywho, yeah, so we get to the hospital, and we, first of all, know what hospital you're supposed to deliver out of, or that your doctor works out of, because the hospital that I ended up going to was the hospital I wanted to deliver out of because it was very nice, but it was not the hospital that my doctor worked out of. So the same lady that I had been seeing my entire pregnancy didn't even deliver my baby or check on me. She did my postpartum checkups, but know that part. We had also, again, moved, and we were dealing with a doctor that was in, not her hospital she delivered was not close to my house, which was also problematic. So just do all your research, and if you have any life-changing events like moving, you should figure out what your scheme and your plan is going to be. Anyway, the hospital that I ended up delivering at was beautiful. And if I could find the videos, which hopefully I can, I'm gonna insert it. Like, the postpartum room, beautiful. The delivery room, baby, was like a whole penthouse situation. Like, it was bomb, so bomb. Oh, excuse me. So we were in the hospital. I think we got there at like 1 something, because again, this all happened at like 9-10 o'clock. It takes him an hour and some change to get from his job to our house. He came and got me, then we had to drive back an hour. Then we couldn't figure out the parking situation. I didn't know if I was supposed to go in through ER or through the front door. When we get to the hospital, they put me on a wheelchair, and because I kept consistently leaking, like, it wasn't like in the movies where it's like a big gush of water that flies out of you. I was just like consistently leaking, and my mom had told me, like, you should change your clothes, put on a sweater dress, bring a towel to put in his car on the seat so that you don't get it everywhere. And I did all those things, but I didn't take the towel into the hospital because I figured they would have like something to put on the seat, and they didn't. So of course, me being the embarrassed Virgo first time mom I am, I was like, hey, you might want to clean, when I got out the wheelchair, you might want to clean that wheelchair, it got a little wet on it. And they started laughing at me. They're like, okay, no problem, like, we'll disinfect it. I'm like, great, thanks. So we get into the space, and they're like, oh, well, like, are you sure that your water broke? And I was like, all I'm telling you is I have a sanitary napkin on my underwear, and I'm not bleeding, and it's not blood, and it's water, and it's consistently coming out. So I don't know. Yeah, I think my water broke, but you know, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna run some tests. The test we're gonna run is we're gonna take this Q-tip, and if we're gonna swab you, and if we swab you and the Q-tip turns blue, that means that your water actually did break. So it's basically testing the amniotic fluid. I said, okay. But we think maybe it's not going to turn that blue. I said, okay, well, do what you do. Y'all the professionals. I'm here because my water done broke. They swabbed me. It turned bright blue. They said, oh yeah, we have to keep you. Your water did break. And I was like, well, I kept telling you, I feel like I keep peeing on myself. So they ended up keeping me, and they attached me to all of these machines, and they were like, you're having a contraction right now. You don't feel it? I was like, no, I don't feel anything. They're like, all right, well, this is going to be welcome, Mom. It's almost time. So they, and at that time, I think I was like 1.5 centimeters dilated, maybe, or maybe not even a full centimeter dilated. So like, I had been having contractions and weren't feeling them. Nobody explains to you what a contraction is supposed to feel like. In my head, it feels like my pelvis, like I'm having a cramp. When the contraction started feeling intense, that's not what it felt like for me. Like, it felt like, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Anyway, they moved me to another room, and they just start like talking to all the doctors. They asked me all those screening questions, asked me who my doctor is, realizing I'm at the wrong hospital. But of course, at this point, they cannot move me because my water's broken. So I am in the, where am I? Oh, they move us to our delivery room, or the holding room, basically, the room that they put you in before you go into your delivery room. And they get me all cozy. They're like checking me, realizing that I'm not increasing. Like, I'm having contractions, but I'm not increasing. So they start to tell me they're going to induce my labor. They give me the Pitocin. That wasn't really working. So they were like, all right, we're going to do a balloon. Bruh, the balloon? If you haven't heard about the balloon, if you're up to it, go look it up. I do not recommend you look it up. However, I can explain to you what it is. Basically, it is a water balloon that they insert into your cavity. They fill it, and when you reach 5 centimeters, I think it's 5 centimeters. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 5 centimeters. When you reach there, the balloon is just going to fall out. They want you to move about the room as normal. If you got to go to the bathroom, you go. If you have to do this, you go. So I'm like, you want me to go pee with the potential that the thing is going to fall out? They was like, yeah, it might just fall out onto the floor. I was like, that's a little uncomfortable. Bruh, inserting this said balloon, I said, oh, no. I don't even want to do this anymore. Figure out another way. They had a student come in and try to insert the balloon because, of course, people are learning how to be doctors and us as patients have to be guinea pigs. The student goes to put it in and can't do it. Poking me. It is so uncomfortable. I'm nowhere near numb. So I'm feeling literally everything. Like, it was the worst. So then they waited a few minutes. As they're poking me, when they pull the thing back out, because it's like a super long, like, think of a windshield wiper. You know how long that is? That's how long the device looks. They're trying to put this in, and they pull it out. It's blood. And I'm just like, I'm trying to breathe. I'm looking at the ceiling. When I look down and see how bloody the thing is, I'm just like, what in the actual F is happening? Like, what? That is crazy. So they give me a few minutes, and then they're like, do you want to try again? I was like, actually, I don't. But y'all are going to make me because y'all going to tell me something that's going to scare me. So if this is the route that I have to take, then somebody just better do it and get it right. I'm not going to keep letting y'all prong me. Of course, you got to turn into the angry black person there. Anyway, so they finally get this tool inside. They get the balloon in, and it just made my contractions so much more worse. So, like, after they gave me Pitocin, I started to feel the contractions, but they weren't actually working. Then they gave me the balloon, and I was still on the Pitocin. So I was feeling everything. I was trying to go to sleep so that, I didn't feel the pain as intensely, but every time a contraction came, it was waking me up. It was just bad. Then finally I had to go pee. I go to pee. I'm like waddling because this thing is very uncomfortable on the inside. And then when I am washing my hands about to leave, I was like, oh my God, it's about to fall. And the whole balloon just falls out and starts bouncing on the floor. And I was just like mortified. Like, what is that? So they were like, congratulations, now we can move you to the delivery floor. So they moved me to the delivery floor, and I'm in this beautiful suite. The delivery room was literally the most beautiful thing. Still on the Pitocin, they still trying to get the contractions to go. I was at 5, was able to get some sleep. Got me to 6, was able to get some sleep. Pain is intense, and I'm going to describe what the contractions actually feel like. So the contractions for me felt like, it is described, to my knowledge, that it feels like the pain is at your pelvis area. So you feel like you're having cramps. For me, I felt my contractions at the top of my stomach, like the baby was like Mia was literally trying to escape through the top. Like, it just felt so tight, and like, as it felt tight, it felt like she was pushing against it. So she was just like, whoa, this place is closing in and I don't like it. And she's pushing against it very, very strongly. And it was very, very, very uncomfortable. So it was like 10 o'clock at night. for some reason, we had this in our brains. This was 4/11. We had this in our brain, like, oh my God, our daughter's gonna be born on the 11th. 11 is significant in our dates. Like, my birthday is September 11th. His birthday is 11/3, November 3rd. So like, she would be 4/11. Like, that would be so cute. She was like, yeah, y'all gonna love me anyway because I'm not coming in the 11th. We were in the room. It's like 10 o'clock. We're trying to keep my mom abreast. My friends who are all pregnant at the time. Like, we didn't have a pregnancy pack. But if you think about it, if you look at it now, you'd be like, oh, y'all had a pregnancy pack. All of y'all wanted to have babies at the same time. But that was not the plan. Because clearly mine was not planned. Fast forward. They're like, listen, every time you have a contraction, she takes a minute to catch her breath. Every time you have a contraction, she takes a minute to catch her breath. We don't feel good about this. We want to go back and give you some more fluid because it's been 24 hours or over 12 hours that you haven't had liquid because your water broke at like 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, and it's now 10 o'clock p.m. We need to give her back some fluid. I said, okay, do what you got to do. And they were like, oh, Mom, it's looking like we might have to do a cesarean. Like, we're preparing. When I tell you, I broke down, honey. Crying so hard. He's trying his best to keep me calm. Like, it's okay. It's going to be okay. I'm like, no, I don't want to have a C-section. I prayed the hardest prayer I've ever prayed in my life. And I pray, honey. But I prayed a hard prayer that day and was like, please, God, please. I do not want to get cut. I don't want them to cut me. They were like, all right, Mom, we're preparing to go in and give her some liquids, okay? And I was like, all right, now it's like 4 something in the morning. We had been having this issue of every time I have a contraction, Mia's struggling to catch her breath for a long time, since we got into the delivery room. So like from 10 to 4 in the morning. And like what would make me nervous is as soon as I have the contraction, the nurses on the outside are monitoring the same screen that we have on the inside. It would look like there was no heart rate. They would run in, they would touch my belly, she'll catch her breath. Run in, touch my belly, catch her breath. So of course I'm not really sleeping because every time I have a contraction it's like moving. But my contractions never got really close enough for me to be like, you know how in movies or in TV shows people are like, oh, they're 5 minutes apart. Like, I never experienced that. They were just very irregular. But I guess when they were happening towards the end, I was really opening up. My prayer worked. So the doctor came in and she was like, all right, we're going to give her some liquid. Oh, Mom, wait, you're already at 10 centimeters. I was like, or however many you got to be, because I don't even remember at this point. You might be ready. Let's do some practice pushes. I said, okay. She goes, ready? 1, 2, 3. I push. She said, oh, wait, Mom, wait, you are ready. And I was like, okay. I was expecting the ring of fire, all the things that people scared you about. Also, rewind, because I forgot to talk about this. I got epidural. I was not one to be like, oh, I want to have this baby naturally with no drugs. Like, no, I don't want to really feel the pain because I want to enjoy her. So I got the epidural. What I learned when getting the epidural, ding, 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 you have scoliosis. My spine is crooked. So they were struggling to get the needle into the right spot. So that was a whole thing. I think I had to get stuck 2 or 3 times for that. So everybody suited and booted. They came in. I had 3 pushes, 1, 2, 3. My baby was here. I just ripped very, very little, thank God. And yeah, they laid her on my chest. We did skin to skin. I made her dad do skin to skin. Then they took her over and they took that beautiful photo of her looking like me with an attitude, because I had an attitude my entire pregnancy. Won't even sit here in front. And that is the story of how I gave birth to my beautiful baby girl. I actually was ready to go home like that same day. So we had her 5 something in the morning, and I was ready to leave by that afternoon. They had me stay overnight, which I'm grateful for, but they let me go home the next day. So we were home the 13th. Taj had left to go take care of the dogs, I want to say on the 12th. He left to go take care of them, and then he finished doing everything that needed to happen to her room, and then he came back and hung with us or whatever. We started breastfeeding immediately after birth, and I'm gonna do a whole video on my nursing journey and my favorite supplies, because I think had I watched enough realistic content on nursing, my expectations would have been different. Because you also talk to a bunch of lactation consultants. Again, video for a whole nother time. Anywho, and that is the story of how we welcomed my beautiful baby girl and the power of prayer, because I did not have to get cut. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to comment. If you made it this far, feel free to comment a heart, just letting me know that you showed support and listened to my entire dramatic journey. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for the next upcoming videos of how we are juggling motherhood, entrepreneurship, and life all at the same time. Until next time, bye.